Okay, rare earths from China. We have China going towards Sovietization, full Sovietization. Why? Because now they are not even publishing the quantity allowed to the West of rare earth. So they're restricting it. What is even more stunning is that, and I couldn't think about it before, is that they can actually count that, control the quantity produced, and refined and exported. This is Soviet economy. This is nothing like a mixed of public and private companies. Basically, this is Soviet economy. You own means of production, and you dictate the output. So Beijing is being Sovietized, and this is done by inertia, meaning for national security, for the self-preservation of the CCP, they have no other choice but to be Sovietized. And again, don't be really glad about it, because Soviet lasted for 70 years. So the decline hasn't started, but it will take 30, 40 years for China to truly decline. It's a large, mega large country. What is happening on the Western side is that we are stuck. Trump is stuck. The entire DC is stuck with narrative economics. Not the DC, but the White House. Meaning that you have Trump and Besant thinking that, well, if we control the Federal Reserve, they'll cut rates, and as they're cutting rates, it will make China export more rare earths. It won't happen. It will never happen. So this is the football scoreboard strategy. Self-evidently no longer works. Right? So you change a number, which is the rates or the yields or the stock market, and boom, the economy expands. Doesn't happen. That happened when China traded freely. Now that China is doing embargo, football scoreboard strategy doesn't work. So Trump keeps talking about this narrative economics, Jerome Powell, cut rates, bond yields, pay less interest from the US debt, irrelevant, doesn't matter. What is happening on the other side is we're going to see a expansion of the Pentagon and the Senate now striking China's upstream supply chains, as it was made self-evident with B2s striking Iran. So we have the news now that Russia is fearing that the Pentagon will strike ships shipping oil, energy to China and Russia. It's true. That is the goal. What the mechanics of it is quite simple. It seems complex, but it's quite simple. Besides oil, iron ore, aluminum, and copper being used as money, which is basically barter, is the people who control this network, who have the capacity to control this network, global network, which is China-centered. And there are 4 names: Vitol, Gunvor, Glencore, and Trafigura. 4. These are very secretive mega commodities, mega houses of trading commodities. They have warehouses everywhere in the world where they store commodities, which are then rehypothecated as barter in 2 spots: in London, England, and in Shanghai, China. But the network is controlled by these 4 companies. No one else can do it. in a very organized way. So the next step that I forecast with the Pentagon, and now we'll either include Europe now because we have Pentagon's man Friedrich Merz heading Europe, which is great news. I'm forecasting now striking the upstream supply of commodities to China, which would be striking supplies of copper, supplies of aluminum, supplies of iron ore, supplies of crude oil, and maybe even supplies of coal, but I'm not really sure about that. But these four for sure. So that's where we are at, or so it's 5 minutes something of clip. So that's where we are at right now, which is, and thank God we're dealing with China, we're dealing with Beijing, we're not dealing with Christian jihadists in Moscow who would be ready to use nuclear Christian Orthodox jihad against the rest of the world. There would be no problem. But thank God we're dealing with Sun Tzu and Confucius leadership like Xi Jinping and CCP. So that's where we're at right now. The Senate and the Pentagon no longer care about Trump, as you can see that. We have a genocide in the Levant, not just Gaza, it's just the entire Levant, which is Lebanon, Israel, Palestine, and part of Syria, and maybe Syria, but part of Syria, which the Senate, the Pentagon, and Europe cannot. Well, Europe, there's no Europe, but let's use the term Europe anyway. It's I call it Yugoslavia on steroids, but let's say the Berlin, Paris, London axis or triangle. And so that's where we're at right now. Okay. As usual, everything is bad. Everything will get worse. No light at the end of the tunnel. There is no hope, and the worst is yet to come. You have a good day.